when in your. So now let's fold our hands, close our eyes, and let's start our opening prayers with 3 ohms. Om. Om. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Satyam Vada Dharmam Chara Matrudevo Bhava Petrudevo Bhava Acharya Devo Bhava Atithi Devo Bhava. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Hari Om. Welcome everybody to a Diwali celebration. Ashishji, shall we see how the family celebrated Diwali?
Okay.
Ashish, we don't hear the sound. Can you unmute? Ashish, can you unmute?
Sorry, Shubhani, was the sound not playing in the background?
Yeah, it wasn't playing. Could you please start again?
Yes, please. Yes, I will. Okay.
Janu Janu da deem team, Janu Janu da deem team, Janu Janu Tadim Dim, 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 Janu Janu Tadim Dim. कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि जनु जनु तदीप्तिं 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 जनु जनु तदीप्तिं.
That was it, Lakshmiji. Back to you.
Very good pictures. A lot of families sent in their Diwali celebration. And it's wonderful to see how families celebrate Diwali. Almost a similar feeling in every family of joy, of happiness, and maintaining our culture. That's wonderful to see in all our families. So now we will proceed to Neil Bhaiya, and he will take us on this journey of Diwali. And it's all to you, Neil Bhaiya, and please go ahead and let's see. We have our passports ready, so please help us go around the world.
All right. Oh. Okay. I want to make sure I share my sound before we launch in. All right. Hari Om, everyone, and welcome to the JFK International Airport. As Lakshmiji said, we'll all need our passports ready because we are going on a field trip all around the world. In the next hour, we're going to visit 5 different countries. So where the Ramayana had a big impact. So very exciting action-packed trip today. But the very first step before we can board a plane, we always need to have our passports. So no, Zoom does not want to show. Oh, there it is. This is my passport. You guys might be able to see my passport. So can everyone hold up their passports to the screen so I can check them, make sure we are all ready. And while I check these passports, Ashishji or Shubhanji, if you could spotlight the other members of our cast. We want everyone's videos to be spotlighted. So I see Danya Nair's passport. I see Priyanka's passport, 2 very nice passports. Love the illustrations and colors on that. Vishnu has his actual passport, perfect. I see Prasad family, I see Lakshmi Alagappan family, I see Manu and Alvar have their passports, Shreyansh Karthik has his passport, Samara has her passport, very nicely colored in Samara. Looks like we are all very ready. A lot of us have our videos off, so please turn those videos on. I need to check all of your passports. Yes, thank you, Symbolism. Thank you, Arav. Thank you, Atharva. I see your passport. Fantastic. So it is looking like we are all ready. As a reminder, you can use these passports as a notebook if you like. Take notes on each destination we visit, how the Ramayana impacted that country, or you can take notes in the form of drawings or whatever you want to remember from the destinations we visit. This passport is your way to save that information, almost like a souvenir or a stamp, to remind you of the most important thing that you want to remember about each destination. So keep updating those passports as we visit each destination. And since we, I see Rani's passport looking very nice there. Thank you. So with that, I will hand it off to Captain Lekha. All of our passports seem to be in order. Captain Lekha, what more do we need?
Well, welcome aboard Pushpak Viman Airlines. So the point of any customs form is to make sure that we're ready to enter a new country. So we're gonna find out whether you guys are ready by playing Kahoot form about the Ramayana.
Fantastic. So let us launch into our Kahoot over here.
Everybody can go to kahoot.it, and if you need an extra device, grab that and then put in the pin once you see it on your screen.
All right, so again, go grab those extra devices. You can use a phone, an iPad, maybe the laptop you're on, any extra device you have, and enter this information as Captain Lekha said. All right, and remember, we'll request only one person per family to join. We want all of you to play this Kahoot as a family. So we have 12 families so far, 13.
Okay, we're gonna give everybody 20 more seconds. Join on quick so you can start.
All right, you heard the captain, only 20 more seconds. All right, we have 28 families. All right, we're at 29. Captain Lekha, are we ready to begin?
I think so, yeah.
All right, should I man the last second? And we are starting now.
First question, where was Rama born? Basic question. Ayodhya, Lanka, Disneyland, or Hastinapura? To everybody that chose Ayodhya, correct. Lanka is actually where Ravana was born. Keep that information in your head next time. On the leaderboard, we have Manika Garnika in first place, Vedanishi in second place, and Sanjay C in third place.
All right, let's see if you can keep those scores on the second question.
What is the name of Rama's family? Were they the Mayura dynasty, the Kushan dynasty, the Raghu dynasty, or the Gupta dynasty? They were the Raghu dynasty.
All right. Many of us got that one. Oh, and congrats, Ashwati. Almost everyone on the leaderboard has jumped in new. All right, very dynamic here. Get ready for the next question now.
Who is Rama an incarnation of? Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, or Elmo?
Could it be Elmo? All right. Almost everyone got that one. It is in fact Vishnu. Sardana family moving up on the leaderboard. Congratulations there. And next question coming at you now.
Who's Hanuman an incarnation of? Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, or Elmo? It is Shiva. That was a little bit more, it was a harder question. Yeah. See, most of us got it right. A little bit spread out. We have a change in the leaderboards. Ashwati still in first, Sardana family in second, and Jainil in third.
All right, next question coming at you now.
Who was the 9th incarnation of Vishnu? Vamana, Buddha, Rama, or Krishna? It is Buddha. A lot of us guessed Krishna.
Let's see what that does to the leaderboard.
In first, still Ashwati. Gayatri in second, and Nina and Lekha in third.
All right. Next question coming at you right now.
Why did Rama go to Lanka? To rescue Sita, to sing with Katy Perry, to find Hanuman, or to destroy Ravana?
29 people already locked in, and everyone's answered. We don't even need the full 20 seconds for it.
Nice. Almost all of us got that right.
All right. Leaderboard. Nia and Lekha coming in strong with 6 correct answers in a row. All right, let's see if we can keep that up on our next question.
How was Lakshmana cured when he was struck by an arrow? He flew to a hospital in the Pushpak Viman. Jambavan gave him a band-aid. The Sanjeevani herb brought from the Himalayas, or he ate spinach like Popeye.
Spinach is good for you.
Nice.
All right. All right, some change on our leaderboard, and Chakri is the highest climber. Congrats, Chakri. Next question, right now.
How many heads did Ravana have? Was it 0, 1, 4, or 10?
Everyone's already answered, and we still have 7 seconds left.
Is the correct answer. I see all of us got that right.
All right. Yes, I think that's our first one with 100% correct. Adishri has 3 correct in a row. Shreya is moving up the leaderboard. Next question
What language was the Ramayana first written in? Hindi, Sanskrit, Tamil, or English? It is Sanskrit. Wasn't written in Hindi and it wasn't written in Tamil, but there are versions in Hindi and Tamil.
All right, and our leaderboard still the same. Oh, this was a tough one. 3 players lost their ancestor streak. Let's see if that continues on our next question. Final question.
Our last question. Who wrote the original Sanskrit version? Was it Tulsidas, J.K. Rowling, Rick Riordan, or Valmiki?
I'm realizing now there's a misspelling in Tulsidas. Please forgive that error. It is in fact Tulsidas, not Tulisidas. You guys can make your guesses accordingly.
Valmiki. Interesting.
Yes. Tulsidas wrote one of the Hindi versions. And let's see our final podium.
Congrats to Shreya, 3rd place. Who's 2nd place? Gayatri in 2nd place, and Ashwati in 1st place.
Congratulations, Ashwati.
Nina and Leica were runners-up, and Sanjay C was also a runner-up. Congratulations, everybody. Everybody knows their Ramayana very well.
All right. So with that, I think we've checked our passports. We've filled out our customs form. With the help of Pushpak Viman Airlines, Captain Lekha, can we depart to our first destination?
Yeah, let's get ready to go, okay? Our first destination will be Thailand. Buckle up those seatbelts, let's hold on tight, and let's get ready to take off.
I want to see everyone buckling up their seatbelts, get nice and tight in those seats, ready for turbulence, ready for takeoff, and...
And it seems that we have landed in Thailand. So welcome. Neelbaya, what story are we learning about today? Why are we here?
I'm so glad you asked, Captain Lekha. We are here because we want to learn about Thailand 200 years ago, which was a time when Thailand was going through a lot of suffering. They were dealing with civil wars and foreign invasions, which caused a lot of hardship for the people, until finally, in 1782, one man managed to unite the whole country, defeat the foreign invaders, and bring peace to the whole land. The people were so grateful for his leadership that they made him their new king. As it turned out, however, becoming king was just the easy part. Now he had to decide what kind of king he wanted to be. Passengers, tell us in the chat, what is a good king like? What sort of king do you think Thailand's new king should try to be? Tell us about it in the chat. Chat at me, Neelbaya. You can send your chat messages to Neelbaya and tell me, what sort of king do you think this king should try to be like? Sanjay C says truthful. Vedanshi says honest. Ashwati says benevolent. Priyanka says nice and respectful. I want to hear from more of us. What ideas do you guys have? Shreya says fair and just. Aditi says a leader. Rohit says wise. Sophia says loyal. Priyanka says helpful. I see wise and kind. Hitin says treat everyone equally. Manu and Elver say responsible. Tanya says kind. All wonderful ideas, all wonderful values that kings should embody. But you know what? We actually have the king here with us right now. So why don't we just ask him directly? Your Majesty, King of Thailand, can you tell us what sort of king do you want to be?
Oh, I want to be a good king who always takes care of his people and does the right thing. And in order to achieve that, I need to have a role model, someone I can look up to, who will help me understand what I should do. And I need to pick a really good role model, the greatest king who ever lived.
The greatest king who ever lived. Tell me again in the chat, everyone, who do you think that would be? Who should be the king's new role model? Again, send your messages to Neil Bhaiya and tell me who is the greatest king who ever lived. Okay, someone said King George III. Okay, a few other folks have said Rama. Danya says Rama. Ashwita says Rama. Shreya says Rama. Wyatt says Rama. Samara says Rama. All right, so we have a lot of votes coming in from Lord Rama, but let's hear again from the king himself. Your Majesty, who is your role model?
The audience is right. I want Lord Rama to be my role model. And to help me remember this, I will change my name. From now on, I will be known as King Rama I, and my dynasty will be known as the Chakri Dynasty.
That's a great idea, Your Majesty. That will definitely help you always remember Lord Rama. But what about your people? How will they learn about Rama and learn from his example?
That is a great point. Since I am a Sanskrit scholar myself, I will translate the Ramayana into the Thai language. That way, everyone in my country will be able to read the story for themselves, and I will make this our national epic.
What a wonderful idea. But what about people who don't know how to read?
Another good point. For those people, I will build a temple right in the middle of my capital city of Bangkok, so that anyone can easily visit. And the walls of this temple will be covered with paintings, so that anyone can learn the story of Lord Rama simply by walking around the temple and studying the paintings.
Another wonderful idea. Let's take a look at some of what the King of Thailand was mentioning. As he said, he did change his name. So this king is now known today as King Rama I of Thailand. His dynasty, the family that still rules Thailand today, is known as the Chakri Dynasty. You can see the Sudarshan Chakra in their symbol. And the poem that King Rama wrote is still Thailand's national epic today. It is called the Ramakien. As we mentioned earlier, there's many different versions of the Ramayana. There's the Hindi version, the Tamil version, and so on. I believe the Thai version is the only one actually written by a king. So that is the Ramakien, the national epic of Thailand. And the temple that His Majesty was mentioning, what a beautiful temple. The Temple of the Emerald Buddha right in the center of Bangkok, if anyone ever gets the chance to visit. The Emerald Buddha in the middle, and all the walls of the temple are covered with these paintings like the king had mentioned. Let's zoom in on a couple of those paintings and see if we can identify who they are. So passengers, tell me in the chat, who is this painting depicting? Let's see if we can figure it out. This is one of the paintings from that temple. Who do we think is in this painting? So I see, whoop, not that one, this one. So we have a few who said Whoa, sorry, I'm lost in my chat. Okay, so we had a few who said Hanuman, a few who said Ravana, one person said Narasimha. A few people said Vishnu. Vishnu is very close. In fact, technically Vishnu is correct. But let's get more specific. It's actually not Hanuman and not Ravana. Technically it's Vishnu, but more specifically, it is Rama. Yes, Vedanshi has it, Priyanka has it, several people have gotten it. It is in fact Lord Rama. You can tell because of the bow and arrow that are in his hands, and also the Sudarshan Chakra, which we know is a symbol of Lord Vishnu. Rama being the avatar of Vishnu. The Thai version of Lord Rama does carry a Sudarshan Chakra. So that is Lord Rama. Let's see if we can try one more. This is another painting from that temple. Can you guys figure out who this painting is showing? Tell me in the chat. Tell me in the chat. Remember to send your messages to Neil Bhaiya. Yes, and this one we have all figured out very quickly. It is in fact Hanumanji. We can tell it's Hanuman because the face has that monkey-like face, but also the Trishul that he is carrying in his hand. Remember, Hanumanji is the avatar of Lord Shiva, so that's why he carries that Trishul. All right, so beautiful paintings in this temple, wonderful vision that King Rama had. Hope you all enjoyed our trip to Thailand, but it is already time to go to our next destination. So let us all get back into our plane with Pushpak Viman Airlines. And Captain Lekha, can you fly us to our next destination?
Okay. Are we ready for our next destination? Okay. Our next destination is Japan. Let's do the same thing. Let's buckle up those seatbelts. Let's get ready for takeoff.
Right, and flying to Japan.
Okay, and we've landed. So, here in Japan, we're going to talk about someone else who wanted to bring the story of Ramayana to more people. His name was Yugo Sako. Yugo-ji became an orphan when he was just 3 years old. That means both of his parents had passed away. As a result, Yugo-ji was raised in a monastery, where he grew up to be a devout Buddhist. The first time that Yugo-ji came to India was for a pilgrimage, where he went to Ayodhya. He was so enchanted by this first visit that he decided to go back a second time, and then a third time, then a fourth time. Eventually, he ended up making more than 60 visits to India through his entire life. How many times have you guys visited India? How many times? Have you visited more than 60 times? Anybody? No? Send it in the chat to Neil Bhaiya. Okay, I'm seeing one time from Nina and Lekha.
All right, yes, Avantika has visited twice, Shreya visited twice, Sanjay visited 5 times. Symbolism has visited 15 times.
Hitan has visited 5, Bhavesh 3 times, Priyanka 2 times.
Venki says he visited 100 times. Interesting.
Okay. So, when Yugo-ji wasn't visiting India, he had a job working at a movie studio in Japan. Yugo-ji enjoyed his job and was really good at it, but he still felt like there was more he wanted to do with his talents. Finally, one day during one of his trips to India, he had an idea. He decided to use his unique skills and knowledge of anime to bring the story of Lord Rama to the world. Yugo-ji dedicated more than a decade of his life to this vision and put in a lot of hard work as both director and producer of the film. When it was finally released in 1992, Yugo's film Ramayana, The Prince of Light was the first ever depiction of a Hindu god in animated form. Nowadays, this seems really normal to us, right? Because we've grown up watching TV shows like Bala Ganesh and Chota Bheem. Have you guys seen any of these shows?
Tell us again in the chat. Have you seen these shows? Vedanshi has.
Or any other shows?
Venki has, Rohit has. Ashwati has actually seen this exact movie, Prince of Light, and she enjoyed it very much, she says. That's wonderful, Ashwati.
Okay. Well, since all of you guys really enjoy watching these shows, you have Yugoji to thank, because he was the pioneer that made all of them possible. Yeah? Okay.
Exactly. So a very inspiring vision from Yugoji. And with that, we'll pause for a minute to let you guys update your passports. I realize we didn't pause after the last one either. So please go into your passports. And for both Thailand and Japan, you can take a minute to add or finish any notes that you had, any drawings you want to make, anything you want to remember about these countries. Take a minute to add those two countries to your passports. All right, we'll wait just another 30 seconds. I do see some people working on their passports.
We have 10 more seconds. Finish up whatever notes you have to take, writing down all your stuff, and then let's travel to the next place, okay?
All right. And we are back at Narita International Airport. So let's get back into our planes. And whenever we are ready, Captain Lekha will take us to our next destination.
Is everybody ready? Okay. Our next destination is Korea. So let's buckle up those seatbelts, let's hold on tight and get ready for takeoff. And we've arrived in Japan. Neil Baya, can you tell us why we're here?
Yes, so we are in Korea to learn about another king who lived 2,000 years ago. His name was King Suro, and he was the first person in Korean history to unify 12 smaller tribes into a single Korean kingdom. But just like before, becoming king was the easy part. The next step was to decide what kind of king he wanted to be and whom he should pick as his role model. Since he was one of the first kings of Korea, he wanted to pick as his role model the greatest king who ever lived. Passengers, tell me again in the chat, who was the greatest king who ever lived? Vedanshi says Rama. Nina and Leka say Rama. Shreyansh says Rama. Manwanalvar say Rama. Avantika says Rama. Rama, Rama, Rama. All we are hearing is Lord Rama. That's exactly right. The greatest king who ever lived. And let's hear from King Sura himself. How will you inspire your people to follow Lord Rama?
I want my people to have a living reminder of Lord Rama. And I am also a king with no queen by my side. I can solve both problems at once. I will get married, and I will marry a princess of the Raghu dynasty. Admiral, come here. I need you.
Yes, Your Majesty.
I have decided that I will only marry a princess of the Raghu dynasty. I need you to sail to India and find my future wife.
And so the admiral sailed and sailed and sailed all the way to India, where he landed in Bengal. And then from there, the admiral got on a horse and rode and rode and rode and rode all the way to Ayodhya. Passengers, tell me in the chat, why is Ayodhya so important? Why would the admiral go so far to that city of Ayodhya? Yes, Sanjay knows. Who else knows? Tell Neil Bhaiya in the chat. Vedanshi knows. Lakshmiji knows. Priyanka knows. Ashwati knows. Yes, because Ayodhya is the birthplace of Lord Rama. That is where Lord Rama had his kingdom. And so if the admiral is seeking a descendant of Lord Rama, that would be the place to look. So that is exactly what the admiral did. They went to Ayodhya and went to meet with the princess of that city. Let's see how that meeting went.
Greetings, traveler. What brings you to Ayodhya?
Your Highness, I have come in search for my king.
Oh, and what kingdom does your king rule?
He is the king of Korea, Your Highness. It is far away from here, very far away.
I've never heard of it, so it must be quite far indeed. But why come so far? Do you not have women in Korea?
Your Highness, my king greatly admires Lord Rama, and so he wants a queen who will always remind him to behave exactly how Lord Rama behaved. That is why he has decided that he will only marry a princess of the Raghu dynasty.
Oh, I'm from the Raghu dynasty.
That's perfect. Your Highness, will you marry my king?
I've never met this king of yours. In fact, I've never even seen a picture of him. But someone who admires Lord Rama so much is sure to be a virtuous person. So I say yes, I will marry your king.
The admiral did bring Princess Suriratna back to Korea, where she and King Suro had a long and happy marriage. They were blessed with 12 children. Their story was even made into a K-drama on television titled Kim Suro, the Iron King. Anybody here watch K-drama? Tell me in the chat. Yes, Ashwati does. A few others do, some don't. If you do, you might want to check out this one about King Suro and Queen Suriratna. So, wonderful. Another great vision from King Suro here in Korea. Hope you guys enjoyed that stopover. We'll once again pause for about a minute to let you guys update your passports for Korea. Please take a minute to do that. All right, I got a question in the chat. And one important reminder, everything we are learning about today is real, true history. These are all real places in the world. You can see the destination we're at right now is actually this royal tomb of King Suros. This is a real place, real person. Everything we're learning about today are real historical events. And just like our next destination, which we will go to once Captain Lekha is ready to take us. Let's get ready to go back into our planes with Pushpak Viman Airlines.
Okay, so our next destination is Iran. Let's buckle up our seatbelts. Let's hold on tight and get ready for takeoff. And we've landed in Iran. Okay, so today we'll hear yet another royal story, this time about the Emperor of Iran. One day the Emperor was speaking with an ambassador from India and asked the ambassador to tell him a story from India. The ambassador ended up telling the Emperor the entire story of the Ramayana from beginning to end. The Emperor loved the whole story, but there was one part in particular that was his favorite. What do you guys think it was? What's your favorite part of the Ramayana? Let's send that in the chat.
Yes, tell us in the chat, what are your favorite parts of Ramayana? You can send your chats to Neil Bhaiya or Pushpak Viman Airlines. We want to hear all about your favorite parts of Ramayana. We'll see if anybody can guess the emperor's favorite. Srinivas says Hanuman flying to Lanka. Samara says when Hanuman meets Sita Ma.
Vedanti says when Lord Rama saved Sita. Hitan Kumar says when Ravana gets destroyed.
Ashwiti said when Rama broke Shiva's bow during the Svayamvara. Shreya says when Rama and Sita were united again. Manu and Alvar say when Rama defeated Ravana. All right, Nitin says when Rama gets back to Ayodhya, yes, it's a very happy moment. It's of course one of the reasons we celebrate Diwali.
Symbolisms in Hinduism says when Hanuman meets Sita. Priyanka again says when Rama destroys Ravana.
All right.
Prasad family says when they built the Rama Bridge.
Captain Lekha, were any of our passengers able to guess the right answer?
All great guesses, but actually his favorite part was not any of those. Instead, it was the Sanjeevani. The emperor was amazed that there existed an herb that could apparently heal any injury, and he was determined to get some of that herb for himself. So he asked his trusted friend and advisor Borzia to go to India and find the herb. Borzia traveled all over India searching for the herb. In every city he went to, he would find the best doctor in that city and then ask that doctor, "Do you know where the Sanjeevani is?" He spent an entire year searching far and wide until he felt like he had asked every single doctor in India. Do you think it worked? Did Borzia ever find the Sanjeevani?
Tell us in the chat, yes or no. Do you think he found it?
Okay, well, Symbolism thinks no.
Shreya thinks no. Sanjay thinks no.
Priyanka says no.
Venki says yes.
No.
Nitin says yes. Nina and Lika say yes. Ronnie says
We have a
yes.
few yeses. We're pretty split. Okay, do we want to know the answer? So,
I want to know, tell us.
unfortunately, Borzia wasn't able to find the Sanjeevani, no matter how many people he asked. However, after talking to so many Indian doctors, he did discover something else. Indians knew a lot about medicine. Borzia thought to himself, even if I can't bring the Sanjeevani back to my king, I can at least bring back some of these doctors so that they can help him when he gets sick. So, Borzia invited a few Indian doctors to come back with him to Iran, where they helped establish the very first university in Iran called the Academy of Gondishapur. This university is actually still in existence today, and every year over 7,000 students from all over the country go there to study. Today, if you visit a doctor in Tehran, they just might have graduated from there. Isn't that cool?
That's amazing. So India exporting doctors is not just a modern phenomenon. I know some of us in the audience might have parents like that. India has been exporting doctors all the way since 1,500 years ago. So very large impact that the Ramayana had on Iran, gave Iran its very first university. Let's take another minute to add whatever we want to remember to our passport, and then we'll be going to our final destination soon. All right. I think it is time to fly to our last destination. Captain Lekha, can you take us there?
Okay, our final destination is China. Let's buckle up those seatbelts one last time and let's get ready for takeoff. Okay, welcome to China. Let's, Nearby, what are we going to learn today?
Glad you asked, Captain Lekha. We are here to learn about China's experiences that started in 1966, when China was ruled by a dictator named Mao Zedong. By 1966, Mao had already been in charge of China for a long time, but there was something he was still not happy about.
You know, I've been the leader of China for 16 years now, but even after all this time, some people still don't respect me enough. There are schools all over the country where students read books that are not about me. I'm the best and greatest person in history. So why should anyone bother reading books that aren't about me? And what's worse than that, in all the temples and monasteries, people are actually worshiping the Buddha instead of me. I'm better than any Buddha. So why should people worship anyone but me?
And so to fix this problem of people not worshiping Mao enough, Mao launched what he called the Cultural Revolution. The goal of this revolution was to destroy all old ideas and replace them with Mao's ideas. Can you guys tell me in the chat, what is Mao destroying here in this picture? Tell me in the chat, tell me in the chat. Yes, a lot of us have seen, these are statues of either the Buddha or Buddhist deities, devis and apsaras and goddesses and gods, all of these old ideas that were very important in China before Mao. Mao wanted to replace those old ideas with Mao's ideas. Caught up in the middle of all this was a young professor named Ji Xianlin. He was a professor of Sanskrit. Passengers, can you tell me once again in the chat, how do you think Mao felt about Sanskrit? Sanjay says he did not like it. Srinivas says he probably hated it. Ashwati says he probably wasn't the biggest fan. Yeah, he did. So I'm seeing a lot of messages come in now. He was saying he didn't like it. He didn't respect it. He was not a fan of Sanskrit. All exactly true. Remember, Sanskrit is very old. In fact, it's one of the oldest languages, the original language of the Ramayana, as we said. It's a very old idea, definitely not Mao's idea. So Mao was not a fan of Sanskrit. And during the Cultural Revolution, you know, students were actually not allowed to study things like science or art or social studies, and definitely not allowed to study Sanskrit, because Mao had decided that everything anyone could ever need to know was already written down in this one little red book that you guys see here. This one little red book, whose author, by the way, was none other than Mao Zedong himself. This book had everything anyone would ever need to know. So why would anybody need to go to school or college? And you can see here, all the children were required to read this book. You can see them all reading it while worshiping a big poster of Mao. Little girl here is very proud of her book about Mao. So now that they could all read everything from this book and not read anything else, people didn't need to go to school or university anymore. And so Ji Xianlin lost his job. But it was worse than that. Because he was a Sanskrit professor, he was targeted for special punishment. He was publicly humiliated in front of all of his old students, and he was then imprisoned inside of a cowshed, which he was not allowed to leave. There, he was forced to clean the cow's dung every day with his bare hands. That's the dung right there. He had to clean that with his bare hands, no gloves for him. From being a professor to cleaning cow dung, how did he endure such a fate?
The time I had spent in the cowshed was very difficult. I was depressed, and I did not know if I wanted to go on living. So I knew that there was something I had to do to take my mind off everything. I needed peace and I needed strength. So I decided to turn to my favorite poet, Valmiki. I started to translate his Ramayana from Sanskrit into Chinese. It was a very slow process because I would only work at night when the guards were asleep. And I had no candles, so I had to rely on only the moon and the stars for light. There were some nights where I only managed to finish one verse, but I did make sure to finish 1 or 2 verses every night, no matter what. By the time Mao died and I was freed, I had finished my translation and was able to finally get it published.
And when Professor Ji published that translation, it created a sensation in China because his passion for this very old book of the Ramayana showed people that old books and old ideas were still worth learning. And his courage in working on this during that Cultural Revolution, publishing it so soon after Mao died, that courage showed people that they no longer needed to be afraid of learning. Schools and universities were reopened, And Ji Shanlin became the vice chancellor of one of China's most prestigious universities, where he touched the lives of thousands of students, including the former Prime Minister of China, Wen Jiabao, who you see here in this picture. Ji Shanlin went on to become one of the most honored and respected men in all of China. He was elected to the Central Committee of the Communist Party. He was also awarded by the government of India with the Padma Bhushan, which you see here. When Ji Shanlin passed away, he received a state funeral. And to this day, thousands of people visit his memorial in his hometown every single day. So that is the story of Professor Ji Shanlin. I am glad we were able to end our presentation today with his story in particular, because there is something we can all learn from Ji Shanlin. When he was at his lowest, when his life was the most difficult, he decided to put all of his faith in Lord Rama. And in return, he gained the strength to save not only himself, but to save his entire country. This Diwali, let us all put our faith in Lord Rama so that we can gain that same strength. Hari Om. Lakshmiji, back to you.
Yes. Hari Om, everybody. Thank you, Neil Bhaiya and the entire team. That was a wonderful journey that we all went through. And all the children, I'm sure, didn't know a lot of this history. And this is true current history that we are learning and visiting these different South Asian countries and Iran. It's a knowledge that we will treasure, and Neil Bhaiya, you made it very real for us. So thank you so much for all your effort and the entire team, children from our Bal Vihar and the Manhattan Bal Vihar and Lekhaji also. Thank you very much. So now, because we are short on time, we will move to the symbolism and Hinduism class, who will tell us about the Diwali, led by our very nice teacher Sumi ji, and she will introduce her class. And then after that, we will conclude with our prayers and Arati. Hari Om, Sumi ji.
Hari Om, everybody. Happy Diwali to everybody. We welcome you to our presentation on Diwali by our class in the Symbolism and Hinduism. Ashishi, if you can please start.
Video, right?
Yes, please.
Shubham karoti kalyanam Arogya sampada Shakshupati vinashaya Depa jyote namastute. I bow down to that light which gives me brilliant health, wealth, and destroy my enemies in the form of ignorance. Hari Om.
Hari Om, and I'm Jenny Brower, and Hari Om. Our class, Symbolism and Hinduism, is pleased to tell you about the festival of Diwali and some of the symbols that can be found in Diwali. I would like to tell you about the Hindu swastika. Popularly, this gets translated as all is well. The swastika is thus understood to be a symbol of auspiciousness and good fortune. and is regularly donned on Hindu homes, businesses, printed materials, cars, temples, and ashrams. The four limbs of the swastika represents the four Vedas, the four seasons, and the four yugas. Hari Om.
Hari Om. My name is Rohit. Mithai is another special part of Diwali. It is symbolic of happiness that we spread at Diwali. Families share sweets and gifts with each other. According to Hindus, all ingredients of mithai are sugar, milk, and ghee, which are considered as a sattvic, which are pure and calming foods and can be eaten by all. I hope you get to enjoy your favorite sweets on Diwali this year. Hari Om.
Hari Om. My name is Shreya Thakre. I would like to tell you about the significance of Rangoli and fireworks as part of the celebrations during Diwali. Rangoli and fireworks symbolize the victory of good over evil. The lighting of the fireworks is thought to be a way to ward off evil spirits and to add to the festive mood. In the olden days, fireworks were mostly not loud. There were sparklers, sky lanterns, and fountains which emit colorful lights. Traditionally, Rangoli is drawn on the floor or at the entrance of the house. It is thought to bring good luck and prosperity. Diwali is also celebrated to symbolize Rama's homecoming. During this time, the house entrance and roads were decorated with Rangoli. Hari Om.
Hari Om. My name is Nina Park. I would like to tell you about the significance of the lighting of the diyas. Diyas are an important part of the celebrations for Diwali. A lamp is a symbol of not only light but knowledge also. Just as a lamp takes away darkness, the light of the knowledge takes away ignorance. It is the ignorance of the ego that creates differentiation. One's own from others, his from hers, mine from yours. Where there is differentiation, there is either inferiority or superiority complex. That leads to jealousy, which turns into anger. The light of the knowledge cuts out the cycle at the very beginning. For those who are aware that there is the same light of the Supreme in everyone, there will be no room for anger. I would also like to tell you about how significant Lakshmi Puja is, part of the celebrations of Diwali. The majority of Hindus associate Diwali with the Puja of Goddess Lakshmi. She is the goddess of wealth and prosperity as the wife of Lord Vishnu. She came out of the Samudra Manthan, the churning of the Milky Ocean by the Devas and Asuras. She chose Lord Vishnu and wed him.
Hari Om. I am Maya Adi Surya. In the Ramayana, which is the story of Treta Yuga, Sri Ram, Mother Sita, Lakshman, and Hanumanji returned to Ayodhya after 14 years of exile and destroying the Asuras like Ravan and his brothers. It was a dark night, and the citizens of Ayodhya lit the diyas and illuminated the city to welcome them. Therefore, we also light the diyas to welcome Sri Ram in our hearts. Hari Om.
Hari Om. I am Manish Bhattacharya. In Dwapara Yuga, Lord Krishna, the 8th avatar of Lord Vishnu, defeated the Asura king, Narakasura, at Devapara Yuga, which is in the state of Assam, India. He released 16,000 ladies held captive by the Asura king. It is symbolic of knowledge and goodness over ignorance and evil. The celebration is called Naraka Chaturdasi. This is celebrated in Assam and in Tamil and Telugu communities of South India. Hari Om.
Hari Om. My name is Priyanka. The Jain community celebrate Diwali as a mark of the anniversary of Nirvana or liberation of Lord Mahavir. He was the 24th and the last Tirthankar of the Jains. It is said that on the day of Nirvana of Lord Mahavir, 18 kings had gathered and they issued a proclamation that lamps be lit in the remembrance of the great light Mahavir. Diwali also marks the end of the year for Jain followers. Hari Om.
Hari Om. My name is Nancy Rani Dilani. The Sikh community celebrates Diwali. Diwali is also called Pandey Chor Divas. It celebrates the day when the Sikhs Guru Sri Hari Gobind Ji, along with 52 of his disciples, were released from the Gwalior fort by the Muslim King Jan Gil, who held him a prisoner for several months. Holy city of Amritsar was founded on Diwali. Hari Om.
Hari Om, my name is Lekha Park. The Newar Buddhists lived in the Nepal Valley and celebrate Goddess Lakshmi. Most of the Nepal population are Hindus and celebrate all 5 days of Diwali. The day of Diwali is an official holiday in Fiji, Guyana, India, part of Malaysia, Mauritius, Myanmar, Nepal, Pakistan, Singapore, Sri Lanka, Suriname, and Trinidad and Tobago.
Hari Om. My name is Hitin Kumar. In Bihar, Diwali or Swanti is a 5-day celebration in Nepal, Sikkim, and West Bengal. This festival highlights the central role of the woman in the household, and rituals are related to wishing for the good fortune of the family. Suhari Bandhana is a harvest festival of Bihar, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, and West Bengal. It is also called the Cattle Festival. It is celebrated after the harvest and it coincides with Diwali. Hari Om.
Hari Om, my name is Anshani. Today our class, Symbolism in Hinduism, spoke about the various symbols used in the festival of Diwali and how people all over India celebrate the festival by lighting diyas, which symbolize light of knowledge over darkness, the ignorance within. People wear new clothes and celebrate auspicious beginnings. They celebrate by decorating their houses with Rangoli music and dance. Firecrackers are abundantly lit. Many families do Lakshmi Puja and Dhanteras with new books for business and silver coins at home. Children get gifts from elders and sweets are distributed to friends and family. On behalf of everyone in our class, I wish you and your families a wonderful celebration of Diwali. Hari Om and thank you.
Ashish, if you can please spotlight Venki. He will do the closing prayers for our class.
Yeah, 1 minute.
Okay, Venki, you can unmute yourself.
Thank you. 1 minute. Let me unmute you once. Can you unmute yourself now? 1 second. Can you try now? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm Venki. I'm Venki. Chubun karo Yana Aro. I bow down to that light which brings brilliant health, wealth, and destroys my enemy in the form of ignorance. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, thank you. Thank you.
That was a beautiful, that was a beautiful presentation by the Symbolism in Hinduism class. These are children who many of them have not traveled to India, have not seen the real Diwali celebration in India, many of them. So they see what we see here in this country, and every family celebrates Diwali a little differently. Different communities celebrate Diwali a little differently, but we're trying to bring them all together and let people know, let children know how all the different communities, the Jain, the Sikh, the Buddhist, and of course the Hindu communities celebrate, and what is the real significance of Diwali? Why do we light the diyas, and why do we have fireworks and rangoli? So these children are learning those meaning of those symbolism, and for them this is new, and I think they're doing a wonderful job, and the teachers are doing a great job teaching them about Diwali. So this brings us towards the end of more towards the end of our program. I just want to touch one topic. When I was calling all the families to send us their Diwali pictures, a few of our Vihar families said, we are not celebrating Diwali this year because somebody in their family has passed on. And from our heart, we wish them peace, and our prayers go out to those families who have lost their loved ones in the past year and did not wish to celebrate Diwali. So that's a sad note, but something to be celebrated. Their lives need to be celebrated. All the good things, all the good deeds that they did, and their good memories need to be celebrated. So our condolences to those families. The next topic I would like to mention is that we in Chinmaya Mission have bought a piece of land in Woodbury, Long Island. This was a few years ago, and we asked the town of Oyster Bay, in which this land is situated, for permits to build an Chinmaya Mission Center, which will have a temple. The main deity of that temple will be Vanvasi Ram, Sita, Lakshman, and Hanuman. We will also have other deities, Lord Krishna and Radha, and Lord Shiva. And at the main entrance, we hope to have Lord Ganesha as the deity there. So we have multiple deities in that temple. It's going to be a big center with 2 floors. The lower floor will have about 10 classrooms. It will have a dining hall, and it will have a commercial kitchen. And on the upper level will be the main temple and a big auditorium with a stage and a capacity of more than 200 people who can attend concerts and pujas and satsangs and retreats in that center. So it's going to be a big place. On the side of that building, there will be 2 apartments. So there'll be 2 families living there, hopefully an acharya and a caretaker for that property. So now we have received all the permits for that building, and we want to start construction. And this is the time where we need your help. We are requesting all the parents to please donate as much as you can out of the goodness of your heart for this center, and help us raise money. This money is to Chinmaya Mission, New York. It's tax deductible, and no amount is small. You can pledge any amount that you would like. And we have this pledge going on from this Diwali day to Gita Jayanti day for about 6 weeks. and we would like to raise about $2 million. So this is a request for all the families, all the parents, to please help us and donate towards this center. This center is going to be a home in Long Island, but it will also be a home for the Manhattan communities, Westchester communities. So of course, Long Island is Nassau and Suffolk will be very close. And it's on Woodbury Road in Woodbury, which is not very far from the center Hicksville, which is the Indian center really. So it'll be a place where children from Shishu Vihar to high school will be there in each classrooms. And we are really looking forward to building this temple. Hopefully in 2 years, it should be ready. And we would move there, and that's where we will hold our classes. So this is our a fervent request to all the parents to please help us raise this money. Also, the children who get gifts from their parents, from their grandparents at Diwali time, it would be nice if the children can also contribute a part of their gift towards the center. So that is our request to all of you. And if you have any questions, feel free to call me, to call Shubhaniji, anybody. And you must have gotten an email with all the information given to, sent to all the families as such. And if you know of any family that would like to contribute or donate towards the center, please let us know and we will contact them also. All right, so now we are coming to the end of our program. Shubhaniji, would you like to say something? Would you like to add?
No, that's okay.
So we will then proceed to the Arati and the closing prayers. Om na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhati kutoya agnihi tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam satya bhasha sarvamidam vibhati Arati Shri Chinmaya Sadguru ki Divya Rupa Murati Karuna ki Arati Sadguru ki Veda Upanishad Gita ko gaya Dharma Sanatana fir se jagaya Shuddha Niti Priti Shankar ki Arati Shri Chinmaya Sadguru ki Arati Sadguru ki Siddha Bari ki Tapo Bhumi mein Nitya Biraje Guru Hamare Bhakta Hridaya Anand Sotra ki Arati Shri Chinmaya Sadguru ki Arati Sadguru ki Arati Sadguru ki Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Hari Om. So we will see you next Sunday. Please join 7 minutes before 10 o'clock for Hanuman Chalisa, and we will see you next Sunday. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.